Assalamualaikum and good morning. Welcome everyone to the National Competitiveness Webinar 2021. I am Shahidi, the moderator for today's webinar. And today's webinar is about smokers. So interesting topic, yeah? And the topic is enhancing awareness and empowerment of Malaysian on the effect of second and third-hand tobacco smoke on health. So it is something that is relatable and interesting indeed. And at the same time, we welcome everyone to participate, to give opinion, to ask question in the Q&A column. And not to worry, there will be an e-certificate. E-certificate will be provided at the end of the session. Yeah? And Alhamdulillah, today we have two distinguished speakers, Dr. Affendi Isa from the Ministry of Health and Associate Professor Dr. Norbani Che Ha from University of Malaya, hopefully to enlighten us about today's topic. Before we further on, I would like to introduce a bit about our speakers for today. And Dr. Affendi Isa, Dr. Affendi Isa has been serving the Ministry of Health Malaysia as Health Education Officer for 19 years since 2002. He holds a degree in communication from the International Islamic University Malaysia, a master in health sciences, health education from the National University Malaya, UKM if I'm not mistaken, and PhD in health psychology from the Norwich Medical School, East Anglia University, United Kingdom. He has vast experience in health education and promotion work, particularly in developing policies and guidelines on health promotion and education initiatives across agencies and ministries, managing health promotion and educational event, evaluation and monitoring work related to individual and community behavior modification and measurement, behavior change communication, community need assessment, population-based health literacy, and social determinants of health behavior. So someone who are very familiar with behavior and health is. Dr. Norbani Che Ha, or I would like to call her Prof. Norbani Che Ha, is an associate professor and head of Department Marketing, Faculty of Business and Accountancy, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. She received her PhD from Monash, University of Australia, and MBA and BSBA from University of Denver, Colorado, US. Her research interests are in consumer behavior, marketing capabilities, halal marketing, and small and medium enterprises. She publishes widely in journal articles, book chapter, and has many books on her own. Would love to get some of the books here, Prof. She is also actively involved in consultancy work for private and public institutions in Malaysia. Among her consultancy projects are with the Prime Minister Department, Aon Co Malaysia Berhad, Tenaga Nasional (TNB), Johor Port, and Malayan Flour Mills Berhad. So interesting and knowledgeable speakers we have here. And I think I wouldn't take that much time. I would love to give the floor to our speakers. I think it started with Dr. Affendi, yeah? So silakan Dr. Affendi, the floor is yours.
Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremostly, thanks a lot for a kind introduction, Mr. Shahidi. All right. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Okay, looking at the topic is enhancing awareness and empowerment of Malaysians on the effects of second and third-hand tobacco smoke on health. We will touch not only the smokers, but also non-smokers. The majority of Malaysians are non-smoker, almost 80%. So this is a big topic. That's why we plan to have a comprehensive study on, a project of behavioral insight for the last year. However, due to the limitations, of course, the scapegoat is COVID-19 and MCOs, we managed to complete a phase 1 of the study on the effects of message framing on awareness, psychosocial, and empowerment of family members in the relation to smoking behavior. So to come to that big topic, we have to do another study derived from the conclusions and the findings from the study on the message frameworks. So bear in mind, We are not jump into conclusions of the impact of the effects of second and third hand smoke on health, um, and on enhancing awareness and empowerment on Malaysia itself, but also we try to elucidate and study about the effects of Malaysian framing at the initial stage. As a background, all right, this is our objective. Before I touch on the objective, I just give a overall background about the smoking behavior in Malaysia. Like I said, the prevalence of smokers among Malaysians recently is 21.3%. This is from a National Health Mobility Survey 2019. It is a big decline. If we compare 5 years before, 2015 is 28.8%. However, talking about dealing with health promotions to those smokers, we have a lot of health campaigns and educational initiatives to increase knowledge and awareness. And all this while from the campaigns, we familiar with Partner campaign and other anti-smoking campaigns, we successfully can increase the awareness and knowledge among smokers. But the thing is, knowledge itself and awareness, there is a gap. There is a gap between knowledge and awareness to the behavior enactment, which is to stop smoking. That's why from the campaign, we can increase knowledge and awareness. However, the rate of stop smoking and those smokers who use our services for quit smoking is rather quite low. Therefore, Ministry of Health Malaysia initiates another health promotion campaign initiative related to non-smokers, which is to empower and to make those non-smoker to speak out. I mean, to prudently and boldly speak out to express their rights to those smokers in order to have a clean air free from tobacco smoke, because there obviously there are impact on effects on health on second and third hand smoke, tobacco smoke. I mean, so second and third hand smoke is a concept. First hand smoke is from the cigarette itself, directly from the cigarettes. Second hand smoke is a smoke from the smokers and also the cigarettes that inhaled by someone who sit or be behind, beside the smokers directly. However, the third hand smoke is the smoke, the combination of all the smokes from the tobacco, from the smoke, from the cigarettes, from the smokers that been absorbed by all the spaces, all the surroundings, carpets, curtains, clothes, your hair. So the thing that can be washed easily is okay, but the thing that is absorbed for a long time indi- will what you call will jive with the ozones and also some sort of a chemical on air, and we produce a tobacco specific nitrosamine that effect and harmful to health, similar to those who smoke that first hand smoke. That's the concept. That's why we need to empower those non-smoker to speak out, to boldly express their rights, not to have those unclean air from the tobacco smoke. So our objective is to investigate types of messages, be them humor messages, fear messages, and also emotional appeal messages that resonate with the family members related to second and third hand smoke effects on health. Like I said, second and third hand smokes are harmful as similar to the first hand smoke. The second objective is to determine the level of knowledge. Yes, we still need to determine the level of awareness and the knowledge, intentions of the non-smoker, self-efficacy and empowerment of the family members using message framing from the infographics. We have sort of media, sort of channels of communications, but for this project, we would like to text on the infographics, the messages embedded in the infographic that portray online and portray on the social media. The third objective is to determine level of exposure to anti-smoking campaigns by Ministry of Health Malaysia on level of knowledge, attention, self-efficacy, and empowerment of the family members related to second and third hand smoke. Well, talking about the message framing, actually, they got a lot of frames. For example, descriptive and subjective norms, positive and negative frames, which is related to attributes of the frames, message frame, and risk communication itself. So message framing refers to the things that we frame those messages tailored to to the target population that involve perceptions on the reality about the smoking cessations, casual interpretation, judging those information from the infographics, and in other words, is the social influence in order to make them empower to express their rights to have a clean air free from tobacco smoke. All right. The underlying health belief model, the underlying theories and models talking about the behaviors, we can run away from the health belief models, the models that depict some perceptions on our belief to have a better understanding about the health. It's focused on the perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, actions, cues to actions, and also we adopt some connotation from the Albert Bandura about the self-efficacy. So talking about perceived susceptibility, how people perceive illness caused by the second and third hand smoke, perceive effects, the problem or harmful effects of the third and second hand smoke, the benefit for quitting smoking, and also the change of behavior to have a clean air in empowerment. All right. The second theories and models is about the stages of change. Changing behavior is not something that done overnight. So they got a lot of times and framework. So there are 6 stages in changing behavior specifically for the smoking behavior. First, pre-contemplations that involve the initial part of the knowledge and also the information that we get first before talking about the contemplations in order to get the action across. All right. The third one is preparations. When we have the informations, we have the ambivalence to go about those behavior. So we prepare for the actions and maintenance. I mean, for the smokers, they must quit smoking. This is for the smokers. They must quit smoking for 6 months without taking any cigarette at all. If there is an equation that they smoke again, it's considered terminations of the relapse. The process of change behavior must go again for the first step is pre-contemplation and contemplations. And the third ones, we also relies on the social cognitive theory by the Albert Bandura, which is some component that's important on social psychological determinant called self-efficacy, where the perceptions of that person acquiring a knowledge could be directly related to observing others within the context of social interactions, experiences, and outside the media influences. In our project, we found out there is a gap between awareness and behavior. The campaign that we enrolled before can increase awareness. However, the behavior to stop smoking and the behavior to express rights is not really acquired by the Malaysians. Government has proactively campaigning the harmful effects of second and third hand smoke. However, seeing increased level of knowledge, that is evaluation by the Lingkot Wing from the Tak Nak campaign. Not all the smokers, non-smokers behavior to stop smoking, and not on the smokers as especially family members empowerment to express their right to have a clean air free from tobacco smoke. And also we found that actually the gap is insufficient success of the campaign could be due ineffective of anti-smoking messages. That's why we try to categorize those existing messages, adapt with a new messages, and we evaluate what are those messages that give more impact to the psychological determinants and also cognitive level. And anti-smoking messages that arouse reactants among recipients are among the successful component for the health campaign.
Doctor, when we are talking about smoking, are we just focusing on cigarette smokers, or are we talking generally about everyone,
Great.
vapors or the
Okay.
shisha or the cigar.
All right. It's tobacco products. All are tobacco products. However, the mechanism is different. For cigarettes and shisha, they have a second and third hand smoke effects. However, electronic cigarettes, they call tobacco-less smoking. Uh, it's not does not have second and third hand smoke. However, the impact for the smoker are similar to the smoking cigarettes. The chemical inside that, the liquid nicotine that evaporated, is harmful because it produces a chemical that harmful for the health itself. So for electronic cigarettes, another story. So for this project, is basically for cigarettes, harmful effects of second and third hand smoke on the cigarettes. Okay. So I'm done with the introduction and background and the awareness and gap and theory. So I'll pass the floor to Prof. Norbani to highlight about the methodology of the project and also the result and findings of the project before I concluded in the discussions and also the recommendation of the project. So the floor is yours, Prof. Norbani.
All right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Fendi. Temporary, Dr. Fendi, coming back later. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to our webinar. I'm more than happy to be here, sharing the session and sharing the methodology and the result of the study with all of you. The for the study, we came up with two set of questionnaire. In a way, we come up with a two set of survey. The first questionnaire or first survey we carried out in August 2020. This is in a way to gauge the awareness of public on Speak Out campaign by Ministry of Health, and also to identify the appropriate advertising appeal for cigarette advertising. So we did a digital survey via Google Form, and we used the convenience sampling. Resulted to 62 responses, definitely because coming from University Malaya, we leverage on our students, especially the postgraduate students. Easy, convenient. Um, and so from the result, we say that 73% of the respondents are not aware about the Speak Out campaign, and only 27 they are aware about it. And when we ask about we ask many things, because to give her some indication to carry out the survey, the real survey. But among the things, when we ask them what are the most appealing advertising to them is humor. But when it comes to something like cigarette advertising or cigarette smoking, many say a combination of humor, fear, and emotional appeal that are appropriate. So from here, we came up with 21 infographic, to a mixture of light humor, fear, and also emotional appeal. But out of these 21, 12 were selected in line with the local content and also regulations set by the Ministry of Health. Um, all right. Yeah. And the second set of questionnaire we was carried out in October 2020. We use a similar sampling. We use a convenience sampling. Again, we use a digital questionnaire, but we have multiple platform. Social media, we use Facebook, Instagram, and also WhatsApp with the URL link to the questionnaire. So the targeted respondents are family members who have at least a cigarette smoker, at least a smoker in the house. And we come up with a two set of the questionnaire with two different URL links. One set or group one is questionnaire with the infographic, the 12 infographic that we discussed earlier or we picked earlier. And the other set is those without the infographic. All right. And we got about 608 and also 201 responses, group one and group two respectively. But for the study, we only use 374 and 132 data for the study, mainly because of the screening question that we have. We're talking about whether you have a family member that smoke. All right. Next, Dr. Fendi. This is the sample of the Google form that we use. We have two set. We call it Speak Out, set 1 and set B, but the difference is only on the infographic. We have section A for the demographic profile, and section B we have the construct. Talking about the knowledge, the self-efficacy, the intention, and all of those. We also have a section where a token, a token. But define next, please. A token. We use for those who involve, they are given a token, but they have to give us their email so that we can contact them earlier to give out the token. So we give 40% off if they are interested to buy, something from all of this platform. So we do that, and this one is on the measurement. Okay, the measurements are we have knowledge from the Malaysian Ministry of Health. We have self-efficacy, intention, effectiveness of infographic, and also empowerment. We're going to go into the research result. So the first one, research result, we're talking about the demographic profile of the respondent. So there are group 1 and group 2. Group 1 is those with the infographic. The group 2 is without the infographic. So here from the table, we can see that majority of the respondents are female for both groups, and they are 39 years old and below. Most of them are, we're talking about a single person, and they have a bachelor degree. Majority of them have bachelor degree, and yet when it comes to their income, they are earning between 2,500 to 4,850. That is category as a B40 in Malaysia. And when we talk about the who are they staying with, they are staying with their parents. This is like jive with their background, that they are single, they are staying with their parents, and also their sibling. And when we ask about how many smokers do they have in the house, majority have at least one smokers in the house. And who are those who smoke? They say their parents, can be their parents and also their sibling. Next, Dr. Fandi, please. This is a question that we ask on the house rules on smoking cigarette. Majority say that smoking is usually not allowed, but there are exceptions. In a way, okay, in certain occasion you can smoke, but most of the time you cannot, that those are for both groups, group 1 and group 2. Next one is on the
it reminded me of my mom.
Really?
It's the same thing. You can't really smoke in the house. There's some rules, unwritten rules.
Unwritten rule.
If you are to smoke in the house.
Yeah, I think it's very much on our culture. If your uncle come to the house, you cannot say you cannot smoke. You cannot smoke outside. Or sometimes we need to prepare an ashtray outside the house. It's an indication that yes, you can, but please go out. Sometimes we are so polite, eh? Yeah, it's quite common.
Be put into consideration, our
Yes,
politeness.
exactly. These are the talking about the infographic. These are the 12 infographic that we developed, and infographic are developed meant to meet the first objective of the study. But most importantly, we actually, when we come with the infographic, we hope this should be a medium to enhance respondent awareness and understanding, and also to show them how to approach family members on the effect of cigarette smoke. And based on the first survey that we did, we take into account humor, emotional, and fear. So these 12 infographic are divided into humor, emotional, and fear. But if you can see here, there are 12. They are randomly placed. They are not like grouping. We do not group that like this is humor, this is emotional, this is fear. We put it randomly. Okay. These are the 12 infographic. All
So
right.
who
Then,
came out with the writing, and who came up with the design? It's quite
oh, we have a group of. Actually, we have my student, and of course, Dr. Fendi helped us a lot.
okay.
Yeah, in terms of, because we go take a look what people have done and what MOH have done with their, the speak up campaign tak nak lah, and there's so many. If take a look, UK have it, US have it, so we take a look, but we try to put it local content, and we come up with a word that is like, it's not too harsh, but it like,
Yeah,
humor, try to subtle way to go
yeah.
about doing it. Dr. Fendi have more about that, I think.
Ayah jom rokok.
What's that?
Ayah jom rokok. That
Yeah, ayah jom rokok. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. And suaraku, kuasaku, that is kind of like playing with the drama, Malay
yes,
drama.
yes. We try to go by what people, things that are viral at that time, what do people's, the slang and the colloquial, that kind of things.
Interesting.
It's quite interesting, but I think the students are quite good. They come up with 12, 21. We were like, wow. I'm Dr. Fanny. We're like choosing which one that we should choose, but of course we have to go by the. There are do's and the don'ts when it comes to the infographic, and MOH have those the regulations. So we have to get rid some of them, even though I like some of them very much, Dr. Fendi. All right, this one is on the first one. The first try to answer the first objective. And we're talking about the choices of infographic based on the appeal, whether there is humor, emotional, and fear. And true enough, if you can see here, the all right. Oh, I didn't highlight here. You can see the slide infographic 1, 2, 6, 7, 8 on humor. 3, 5, 9, 12 are on the emotional appeal, and also 4, 10, and 11 are on fear appeal. And from these three, we know the result say that majority are toward the emotional appeals. We have like 137.75 main result from the responses.
Using your relative, right? Your ayah, ibu.
Say that again?
Because I saw ayah, ibu in the message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are emotional appeal. So we can see that respondents are more, leaning toward emotional appeal. And the other slide, the table 3, we're talking about the effectiveness of the infographic. So we use 1 to 7 scale, Likert scale. So the result indicate that the respondents are in agreement with the statement on the effectiveness of infographic. We can see the result from 5.13 to 5.74. So we can say that respondents are rather receptive to the infographic and find them believable, important, convincing, and most importantly, able to help them to deal with the family members who are smokers, and to tell them in a way. This one is on the objective number 2. Objective number 2. So here we're looking at the association of humor, emotional, and fear appeal with knowledge on the effect of cigarette smoking on health. So we divide the table into 3. One is based on humor appeal. Second one is based on the emotional appeal, and the third one is on the fear appeal. All right. If we go across the 3 table, we can see that their knowledge are quite similar. They have the agreement regardless of your appeal. We're talking about children are more likely to get the asthmatic, the lung growth of children is easily disrupted. And we talk about the secondhand smoke. we're talking about the susceptible to the threat of various types of cancer. So these are among the statement that, you know, regardless of the appeal, they agree that these are the consequences of cigarette smoking. All right, and we can see also that the well, hold on, the among the three appeal, emotional get the highest response when it comes to the knowledge on the effect of cigarette smoke. This one on the still on the objective number 2. So this one we take a look in terms of the self-efficacy, the intention, and also empowerment, and the choice of message appeal. So more or less, if you take a look, we take a look at the three table 7, 8, and 9. They are quite comparable, you know, quite comparable when it comes to the result. But if you take a look fear, table 7, 8, and 9 score the lowest. Talking about the people with the fear appeal, in a way, you know, we're talking about the least inclined uh, toward, you know, self-efficacy, toward the intention and empowerment, toward secret smoking. And we notice that the emotional appeal have the biggest intention to on speak out, you know, on telling their family, and also have the uh, sort of empower, have they have the power, or they have the ability or dare to speak out. The all right, this is the last one, the last objective of the study. The last objective, we're talking about the level of exposure to anti-smoking campaign by Ministry of Health on the level of knowledge, intention, self-efficacy, and empowerment. But the first question we ask you, have you seen infographic on anti-smoking campaign by Ministry of Health? You know, 71% said yes. That is about 54%, whereas 61 of the respondents said no. All right. Okay, hold on. We only for this question we only use group 2, because group 2 are not exposed to the infographic. So we only ask that question for group 2. So 54% said yes, they have seen you know, infographic on anti-smoking by MOH, but 46% said no. So considering that the campaign has been launched for quite some time, there are plenty of improvement that can be done, you know, on creating awareness about the campaign. The second part of the slide, we're looking at the effect of cigarette smoking to health. Have you seen the campaign? Yes, and the other one, you can see here, there are common understanding among them that cigarette smoking cause cancer. You know, children are vulnerable to its bad effect. And but then if you take a look down there, down the table, you can see that the level of knowledge on the cigarette smoking to fertility and sexual dysfunction is lacking. Okay, and also on the consequences of the third hand smoke. All right. Next one is on the yeah. Next one is looking at the self-efficacy. You know, have you seen the campaign or not? Yes or no? Yes, I see the campaign. No, I have not seen the campaign. The intention and also the empowerment. We it's quite consistent to the on the knowledge part result from these three construct. Okay, talking about self-efficacy, intention, and empowerment are rather comparable. So exposure to the campaign, we can say that rather insignificant to respondent strength for self-efficacy, intention, and also empowerment. Dr. Fendi, your turn.
So, Mr. Shahidi, shall I proceed? Or?
Thank you, Doctor. There is actually a question from our viewers, but it's not really related to awareness, but it's more towards cigarettes. Because the question is it true that smoking help to relieve stress? I think this is lack of awareness in a way by Mr. Bon Eric De Vera. That is the question.
All right. If I can comment on that, thank you for the questions. Actually, in many studies, smoking is actually induce stress and anxiety. In fact, however, there is claim that smoking can really stress among those smoking. Among the smokers, they tend to believe that smoking can really stress because of nicotine dependency, which means
Yeah.
their brain dependence on and addict to that nicotine. So without nicotine, their brain is not relaxed. So which means they have to be defeat with the nicotine, and the brain will temporarily really stress. However, the blood pressure, anything else will reduce. So you can tell me which one is more benefit.
Yeah.
Let me add to that. We asked that question actually. We have a section in our questionnaire talking about the perception, but maybe later when we publish the paper, we can share with the audience. But I not this year, maybe Dr. Fendi, maybe later, because we have this section. We do ask people what their perception towards smoking, whether they feel cool, whether they, will help them to, like Dr. Fendi mentioned, if they go to socialize, they help them to reduce their anxiety level, that kind of thing. We did ask that kind of question.
Right.
I think I want to add to that also. It's like we taking coffee in the morning, right? Especially we take coffee before we go for a meeting or presentation, that will reduce our uh, anxiety, the stress level. Like we feel like energetic, for a while. After that, you will like,
But when it comes to
caffeine, the caffeine.
coffee, chocolate, we know that they trigger some serotonin, dopamine. But does it happen when we're smoking?
Yes, it's actually release dopamine as well.
Okay, that's the reason. One of the reason. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we may continue with our webinar.
All right. Thanks, Prof. Norbani. So I'll continue with the discussions. Before that, I would like to remind that third-hand smoke is actually will that absorb the smoke that absorb by the all surfaces we keep will be there for a longer time, up to 1 year. So even though you smoke in the car and you slide up the windows, and in the living room you open the door, the substance from the third hand smoke is still there in the surface for a long time. So that should be worried most. All right, about the discussion. So actually, this study set out a better understanding about the processing of anti-smoking messages that must be combined with the framing that tailored to those target groups in order to have effects on attentions, awareness, and also psychosocial to express rights to have a clean air among the non-smoker. In terms of preferences of infographics, from Prof. Norbani highlighted before this, is about the appear most prevalence among those who pick those infographics most appealing to them, infographic that have emotional messages, slogan and caption, um, compared with humor and fear. Therefore, we notice that from the message that we are going to develop, it must be have some sort of emotional appeal. This is supported by a study in Massachusetts in 2001 about anti-tobacco messages on advertisement perceived as most effective were those who evoke strong emotions. That's the thing. So the main objective of the message framing is actually to enhance knowledge of the target groups about the second and third hand smoke, danger of third hand smoke, and underlying tailored messages. Among three messages frames used in the study, respondents who preferred the infographic with emotional appeal tend to respond better in understanding, knowledge, and a statement to those who prefer humor and also fear arousal in the cigarette smoking behavior. Arousing emotion can increase an effectiveness in advertising as well, because there are studies saying that in advertisement on smoking should be tailored with the emotional appeal. However, in terms of self-efficacy in general, efficacy level or respondent regardless of choice of messages, be it humor, informative, emotional, have confidence to express their right to family members about cigarette smoking. But to compare among those three appeals, those who prefer fear messages, that awareness is emotional, but to those who have a self-efficacy to boost more self-efficacy, fear messages have the least inclination towards self-efficacy vis-a-vis the two other appeals. So the findings similar to many studies, we compare and discuss with in our report about the other study who has similar comparison like us. Sorry. All right. So message framing on health promotions, materials, and anti-smoking campaign is seen as a cue to actions. That is one of the health belief model for the empowerment. So the cues to action is actually an exposure to factors that prompt action according to health belief model in case respondent exposed to messages on infographic and previous anti-smoking campaign for behavior enactment. In the study, it is reported that 54% of the respondents have seen the campaigns on anti-smoking through various communication channels, be it social media, conventional media, or interpersonal. There is no difference between who has seen and not seen infographic in terms of knowledge. So same infographic or without infographic, the knowledge is still same, as well as other psychological determinants, intention of self-efficacy, and empowerment on the effects of smoking cigarettes and health on health and behavior to express right to have a better and clean air free from tobacco smoke. So therefore, we will see that anti-smoking campaigns and other health and promotions that lack with the message framing, either emotional, humor, informative, subjective norms, uh, less effective as compared to those who have a message framing and on the ballot populations and the target groups. As a recommendation, result from this study suggests that messages on infographic or other terms, other methods of health promotions that convey, disseminates information online, offline, or other materials and channels must be tailored and framed according to the needs of the target groups. And emotional appeal must be the main thing that should be focused on our messages in order to have a behavior enactment as the outcome. Okay, this message framing is important because it acts as a cue to actions in the relationship between message to enhance knowledge and actual empowerment for the family member. So basically, in a nutshell, a message framing is important and in our study to increase knowledge and empowerment. However, from the study, due to limitation of the time, we couldn't have a time to have interventions. We would like to have intervention. We create a messages that different type of messages. We intervene with the target groups, which are those messages can nudge the behavior of the respondents. So nudging those behavior is something that we lacking off in this study because we need time. Still again, the COVID-19 is because we foresee that we need to continue the study to have a better intervention for the respondent, to have linkage. It's not only psychosocial and awareness as mediation effects from the smoking habits to the behavior of acting like to have a better understanding and also behavior to speak and boldly and prudently to express rights amongst 80% of the Malaysians who are not smokers. So with that, I thank you very much.
Yeah, when you're saying about boldly, that in itself is not really how we do our thing. Just like we mentioned just now about my mother and Prof told a story about when an uncle came into our house. That kind of thing is something that I think we need to put into consideration because it's going to be very hard for us to be bold, to be in terms of even framing is something that out of the moment, spur of the moment, can we like really think of all that? Do you have any opinion on that, Dr.
I
Fendi? Or
agree. I agree with that, but it depends on the situations.
mm,
I think for the smoker who smoke at the restaurant and shoplets,
it's easy.
the strangers will boldly
Yeah,
express your
true,
rights.
true.
But the
Yeah,
family
yeah,
members, we have another mechanisms to express politely,
yeah,
or in nutshell, we have uh, in Malay something that we what we call we it's not directly expressed, but we selit sikit the information, something that to
Subtle,
trigger,
subtle.
yeah,
subtle, very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why one of the infographic, you know, that we develop. In a way, if you don't want to say out loud, you can just sort of, you know, give them the infographic saying that's what we have in mind, and then they can show the infographic, they can share the infographic. Nowadays, you can have on your phone, you can just say like, hey, take a look, you know,
Uh,
this infographic. Maybe that more like we call it subtle, then just say, please do not smoke in the house, you know, to your uncle. He won't come back. He won't
yeah.
come to your house anymore after that.
Maybe we can print it out and put it as poster ke?
Yes.
Put it in the living room.
Basically, in our guidelines for the speak out campaign, we have those examples of how to speak out
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
politely, yeah,
Yeah.
boldly but politely to those,
Yeah.
especially the family members. That's why our target groups, especially for those spouse, housewife at first. However, due to some constraints, we couldn't manage get an ample sample from the housewife. That's why we expand to relative members, regardless of housewife, uncles, aunties, and sort of things.
There's a question from our viewers. Actually, it is still about smoking, and it's not really about second or third person. And the question is, why do people still engage themselves in smoking while in stress? And why do some people engage themselves after eating? This comes from Gush Lanzar. So why do
All
they
right.
smoke when they're stressed or
Yeah.
after eating? Yeah.
Okay. It's all about addictions.
Yeah.
Nicotine increase addictions, and addictions is mental illness classified in the CD10 of disease classifications. So, which means you addicted to nicotine, regardless in mechanism. I mean, in smoke, cigarettes, in electronic cigarettes, in shisha, it still have a nicotine that will make you addicted to it. So that's why, although we have underlying information about the harmful effects of the smoke, but those who are addicted is something, because in the smoking cessation clinics, in the quit smoking clinic, actually we assess the level of it's called a progesterone test to assess the level of nicotine addictions. For those who wake up in the early morning and 5 minutes they straight away smoke, its addiction level is very high. So it's there is a what you call a treatment for that, different level of treatments, either psychological, behavioral therapy, and also pharmacotherapy. We have some sort of a pharmacotherapy to replace the nicotine safely. I mean, there is a artificial nicotine in the patch, in the inhaler, to replace the addiction slowly, abruptly. There is a schemes and a mechanism of the spot smoking we have in the quick smoking clinic actually.
Prof, do you have anything to add on that matter? Why do we smoke after eating? Is it just addiction, or is it habit, or is it
Yeah,
something?
Dr. Fendi talking about addiction, you know, from the perspective of Ministry of Health.
Yeah,
People on the street like myself say it's a habit, you know.
yeah,
You
yeah,
used to it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Science wise, and the you know, people on the street, we call it, yeah, it's not nicotine, but we call it habit, right, Dr. Fendi?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, for example, if you smoke a cigarette, one cigarette, how many times your hand will put like this?
Yeah.
So if it is one pack of cigarette, 24 pack, 20 cigarettes, how many times? So that's become your habits, and
Habit.
it's habitual.
Yes. Yeah.
Even Mr. Gush Lanza said that it's habit.
Habit. Yes. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
habit. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I found this to be very interesting, especially when it comes to infographic and one of the figures just now that caught my attention is 20% of Malaysians smoke. Is that a big number, or am I right in saying it's 20%? If I'm not mistaken,
21%,
21%.
0.3%.
Yeah. So is that a good number? Apple, can you put it as an indicator compared to other countries or compared to the world
Um,
median?
it's comparable to other countries, but the target of WHO is less than that. I
Okay.
mean, because the effect of smoking, it's the main factors for and the burdens of Ministry of Health to pay for the treatment. The thing that related to smoking is very, very high. It's actually so even though it's 20%, but the effects on health is bigger.
I find it interesting because even from the questions, from the Q&A and from the chat room, a lot are talking about stress, meaning the awareness of smoking is still quite lacking. And if I'm not mistaken, again, the survey was done mainly to students, yeah, university students.
No, no, the first one. The second one
First
is
one,
a
okay.
public.
All
The
right.
second survey is public.
Yeah, from the student, is the finding interesting? Can you like?
The first survey, but we don't really go in depth talking
Okay.
about the efficacy, talking about we don't we talk very much. We're talking about whether you're aware, what kind of messages appeal, because we have that intention already. We want to come up with the infographic, and we want to choose what kind of appeal that we want to put into the infographic. That actually mainly the survey was about. The
Okay.
first one, the first survey was about to give some indication to us how to go about the second one. But the second survey is convenient. We just pass around. We just pass the WhatsApp link to everyone, to our friends, to whoever, and they can also do a snowballing. Like to another. So we don't really we have the demographic, but we don't really know whether they are the origin, whether they are students or they are from Clan Valley or whatever. We don't know. We don't capture that one.
Because I'm interested to know what's the number of or what's the percentage of students in university who smoke? Is it an issue? Is the number bigger than what we have in our country?
They cannot smoke in the campus.
Yeah.
They cannot smoke in the campus.
Yeah.
It's a no, no.
Yeah.
In
Of
UM, in UM, yes.
Yeah, for the figures of him, I can't remember, but there is a study under TECMA, which is tobacco and electronic cigarettes among Malaysian adolescents in
Mhm.
2016. They're not classified, categorized as higher institution students or a student at the schools, but it's a age between 7 to 15 for adolescents.
All right. I guess there's not much question anymore.
I think can I respond to one more question by Gush Lanza? It's about
Okay.
the smoke danger. It's
Habit. Yeah.
actually yes, if you're familiar with quitting smoking cessation clinics, like I said, it's a behavior therapy, pharmacotherapy, and psychosocial therapy. So when he said about the deviated to eating chocolates and release
Yeah.
tension, it's a thing. But like I said, a habitual thing that you put your hand into your mouth, we actually replace with a stick of carrots instead of smoke because that's habitual. They tend
Yeah.
to need to have that habits,
Yeah.
that the trigger for the smoke. That's why we replace to a stick of smoke. What you call it, carrots. It's specifically for carrot. There is something. There is a lot of discussions in that clinic. So for those who smoke and who have a motivation to quit smoking, you are welcome to our clinics. They are open to all health clinics in districts level, and also we have MQuick clinics in the general practitioners. You can call us. We have a numbers in our website.
What is the website, Doctor?
You can it is MOH website, or whether my health portal, myhealthportal.gov.my, or infosehat.gov.my. We have a list of it's called smoking cessation clinics.
But sometimes habit can be, can be trained, just like what you said, using carrot. I myself is using coffee or tea as habit bunching. That is the term, habit bunching, for me to start and do something. And I guess we need to, reframe our mind, and reframe how we see things and understand it at a bigger picture. Okay, so I think this is a very interesting session, and as mentioned by our speakers, the intervention will be made later. The project will still are still developing, and we would love to hear more from our speakers, from Prof and from Doctor. Hopefully, this is not the last session. Yeah, hopefully there will be
Yeah, I
more
hope so.
session on
Yeah.
this matter.
Uh,
So, any
maybe
last yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
No. I just to mention that I'm not the only one who manage this project in my office. We have a
Yeah.
team actually. Those who are a person in
Yeah.
charge and officers on the
Yeah.
it called anti-smoking unit, something that they are the persons who are have a technicalities and anything else. I'm the one who
Anti-smoking.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
evaluates and make things this project happen together with Prof. Norbani.
Maybe you can share your last parting gifts, or you just want to share your last opinion on this matter before we go.
Um, we in this project we try actually to help non-smokers. So it's not necessarily we left out smokers. Smokers, we promote a healthy lifestyle to stop smoking, and we provide the facilities at the ground. So for smokers, it is easy for us to say that for non-smoker to say that smoking is just something that can be changed overnight. But uh, believe me, when you manage a quit smoking clinics, it's very hard. For those who have a high motivation, only can quit smoking. That's why our project is relies on those who are non-smokers. That we hope we can confine those who are non-smokers, frame themselves on the harmful effects of second-hand smoke. That's all.
Wonderful, Doctor. Any last word from Dr. Prof?
Um, yeah. I think talking about the study, that I think we have a again we plan it well. Talking about we want to have the intervention and everything, but yeah, like Dr. Vandy mentioned, the scapegoat is the MCO, so we couldn't do the intervention. But we hope that we'll be able to proceed. To the later stage, to the next stage from this research. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we also have other things. We're talking about the support system. We did ask the support system in the questionnaire. We did ask about the perceptions, like you just now talking about why you need to have a secret, like after the meal, whether the secret, especially the young one, whether they feel like smoke is a trend, then they have to follow certain trend or not. We have all of those, but we are yet to do much thing on that, to Fanny. Maybe we will sit down and come up with something. Then we can share with all of you on the result, because the number is quite big. We're talking about we have quite a number on that one, number of responses.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. So I guess that's it for our session today. It's a wonderful session, interesting. I learned a lot in the process, and I would like to mention to all the viewers, I hope all the viewers will learn a lot too. And if you are to claim the e-certificate, please answer the evaluation. There's a link in the chat session there. Yeah. So maybe you can fill in the evaluation form first, and then you may get your e-certificate. And again, thank you to our speakers. It's been wonderful. I've learned a lot, and hopefully, this is a start of something wonderful. We can see it is wonderful, and talking about it, punda wonderful. So this is a
Yeah.
great session, and hopefully there's a future session, and all the best to our speakers on pursuing this. So I would love to say all the best. Thank you. And till we meet again in the future, stay safe, take care. And again, Assalamualaikum and goodbye.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Mrs. Saidi, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.